Welcome back to another episode of True Scary Stories on Beyond Belief. Most of you watching my videos are not subscribed. Please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to my channel. So this happened to me last summer, when I was hanging out with people I thought were my friends. Looking back now, I should have seen the red flags, but I was honestly just happy to be included in their group. I was always the quiet kid in school, didn't have many friends. You know how it goes. It started when Sarah, the popular girl from my chemistry class, surprisingly invited me to her house party. Her parents were away for the weekend, and she said it would be just a small gathering. I was fucking stoked, finally feeling like I might fit in somewhere. When I got there were about 10 people, all from the cool crowd. We were drinking, smoking weed, and everything seemed chill at first. After a few hours, most people had left except for Sarah, her boyfriend Mike, and 3 others I didn't know too well. That's when Sarah suggested we play Truth or Dare. The vibe was different now. Looking back, their smile seemed almost predatory, but I was too buzzed to notice. The first few rounds were pretty standard, making out, stupid dances, embarrassing confessions. Then it was my turn. Mike dared me to run naked around the block. Everyone was drunk and laughing, and I didn't want to seem like a pussy. Plus, it was 2 a.m. Who would even see me? Fuck, I was so goddamn wrong. I stripped down, feeling weirdly confident thanks to the alcohol. They were all cheering and hyping me up. Sarah held my clothes, promising to give them back when I returned. I remember how cold the air felt on my skin as I stepped outside. I started running, my drunk ass probably looking ridiculous. The streetlights made me feel exposed, but I kept going. I heard them laughing behind me, but I didn't realize they were following at a distance. Halfway through, I heard a car and had to hide behind some bushes. My heart was fucking pounding. The car passed and I continued my run. I was actually starting to feel like a badass, thinking this would be a funny story to tell later. When I got back to Sarah's house, they were all on their phones, crying from laughter. That's when my stomach dropped. They had followed me with their phones out, recording everything. Every fucking thing. Before I could even process what was happening, Sarah showed me they'd already posted it on Instagram. The caption read, "Watch till the end, local loser strips for popularity." They had over 1,000 views already. I grabbed my clothes and ran home, crying. By morning, the video had spread to everyone at school. People I didn't even know had saved it. Some sick fucks even slowed down parts of the video and reposted them. The school got involved, but the damage was done. The video kept popping up on different accounts. Every time one got taken down, 3 more would appear. My parents were devastated. I couldn't look anyone in the eye anymore. I had to switch schools, but the video followed me. Someone always knew someone who had seen it. I developed severe anxiety, couldn't trust anyone. Every time I heard laughter, I thought it was about me. Every phone pointed in my direction felt like a weapon. The worst part? Sarah and her friends got suspended for just 2 weeks. 2 fucking weeks for ruining my life. They even made jokes about it when they came back, saying they did me a favor by making me famous. Now, 2 years later, I'm still dealing with the aftermath. I've had creepy DMs from strangers who somehow found the video. Job interviews are terrifying because I'm always worried they've seen it. This shit doesn't just go away. The internet never forgets, and neither do I. Trust is dead to me now. Those fuckers didn't just record my naked body, they stripped away my dignity, my security, and my ability to ever feel safe again. I need to share this fucked up shit that happened during our Discord Truth or Dare game last month. We were all bored during winter break, me, Jessica, Amy, Katie, Lauren, and Mia, doing our usual video call hangout. Started off normal, just us being dumb with silly dares. Then Katie hit Mia with this dare. Eat 3 huge spoonfuls of cinnamon powder. Straight up, no water. Mia, trying to be all badass, runs to her kitchen and comes back with this massive jar of cinnamon and this big-ass spoon. None of us thought this would go so wrong. First spoonful, she dumps it in her mouth. Her eyes start watering and she's coughing like crazy, but she gets it down. We're all laughing, hyping her up for the next one. Second spoon, shit gets rougher. She's gagging, powder's coming out her nose, but she's determined. Forces it down while we're all screaming, "Holy shit," through our mics. Then comes the third spoon. The moment it hits her mouth, everything goes to hell. She starts choking for real. Not that fake coughing shit, like legitimately choking. Her face turns red, then this scary purple color. Powders everywhere, coming out her mouth and nose. Suddenly she's stumbling around her room, knocking shit over. The choking sounds are getting worse. She can't even make words anymore, just these horrible gagging noises. Then, boom, she disappears from camera view. We hear this loud thud. We're all fucking screaming at our screens. Jessica's already dialing Mia's parents, but they're not home. We can still hear Mia struggling off camera. These weak, desperate choking sounds that are getting quieter. Lauren remembers about Mia's neighbor. Jessica finds their number and starts screaming at them to check on Mia right now. The waiting is torture. Just staring at an empty room, hearing these faint, choking sounds getting weaker. Then we hear it. The front door slamming open, footsteps running upstairs. The neighbors found her passed out on the floor, barely breathing. Got her water, helped her throw up all that powder. Mia disappeared for 2 weeks after that ER trip. When she came back, her voice was different, all raspy. Said she still couldn't taste right. Oh, like everything was burnt. That's the thing about online dares. You're watching someone literally dying through a screen, and there's not a single fucking thing you can do about it. If those neighbors hadn't been home, shit. I don't even want to think about it. We still do video calls, but truth or dare? Hell no. Not after watching someone almost die while we sat there useless, just staring at our screens like idiots. Alright, so this happened to me when I was 17, back in high school. My friends and I were all about stupid dares back then. You know, the kind of stuff teenagers do to prove how cool or brave they are. One night, my buddy Jake came up with this genius idea. Explore the old drainage tunnels on the edge of town. These weren't just any tunnels. They were part of this abandoned drainage system that hadn't been used in decades. People in town said they were dangerous, like, "Don't go in, you'll die. Dangerous." But of course, that just made us want to check them out even more. Jake was like, "If you're too scared, just say it." And obviously, I couldn't back down. So, we grabbed some flashlights, told our parents we were staying at each other's houses, and headed out around midnight. The entrance to the tunnel was this big rusted metal grate that someone had pried open years ago. It looked like something out of a horror movie. Dark, wet, and reeking of mildew. The air coming out of it was cold. Way colder than it should have been for a summer night. Jake went in first, shining his flashlight around like he owned the place. I followed, and our other friend, Mark, brought up the rear. The tunnel was narrow and low, so we had to hunch over as we walked. The walls were covered in graffiti, mostly random tags and stupid stuff like "Jimmy was here," but some of it was weird. Symbols I didn't recognize, like they were from some kind of cult or something. Mark joked, "Looks like we just walked into a satanic panic special." We all laughed, but it felt forced. The further we went, the worse it got. The floor was wet and slippery, and the air felt heavy, like it was pressing down on us. My flashlight kept flickering, which didn't help my nerves. We passed a few side tunnels, but they were so dark and narrow that none of us wanted to check them out. Jake kept saying, "Let's go a little further," like he had something to prove, and then we heard it. At first it was faint, like a distant tapping sound. We all froze, our flashlights darting around the tunnel. "What the hell was that?" Mark whispered. The tapping got louder, echoing off the walls. It sounded like footsteps, but not normal footsteps. They were uneven, like someone limping. Jake tried to play it cool. "Probably just water dripping or something," he said, but his voice cracked. "Yeah, dripping that walks," Mark muttered. "We should have turned around right then." But no, Jake wanted to see what it was. After another few minutes of walking, we came to this open chamber where a bunch of tunnels intersected. It was huge, with a high ceiling and a pool of stagnant water in the middle. The air was even colder here, and the smell was unbearable, like something had died down there. Jake shined his flashlight around, and that's when we saw it. In the corner of the room was this old, beat-up camping tent. It looked like it had been there for years, covered in dirt and mold. There were empty food cans scattered around it, along with a pile of clothes. "Dude," Mark said, his voice shaking. "Someone was living down here." "No shit," Jake replied, but he didn't sound so cocky anymore. I don't know why, but Jake decided to check out the tent. Maybe he thought he'd find something cool to brag about. He unzipped it, and I swear to God, the smell that came out of there almost made me puke. Inside was this old backpack, along with a bunch of other random junk, a frying pan, a flashlight, and some notebooks. Jake grabbed one of the notebooks and flipped it open. The pages were covered in writing, but it wasn't normal writing. It was gibberish, just random letters and symbols, like someone had lost their mind. "Alright, I'm done," I said. "Let's get the hell out of here." But before anyone could move, we heard the footsteps again. This time they were louder, closer. Jake dropped the notebook, and we all froze, staring at the tunnel we'd just come through. The footsteps were getting faster, echoing off the walls. And they weren't alone anymore. There was this sound, like heavy breathing, mixed with a low growl. "Run," Mark whispered. We didn't need to be told twice. We bolted, slipping and stumbling as we ran back the way we came. The footsteps were right behind us, and whatever was chasing us was fast. I didn't dare look back, but I could hear it. The growling, the heavy breathing, and this weird scraping sound, like claws on concrete. Mark was screaming, and Jake was yelling, and all I could think about was getting out of there alive. The tunnel seemed to go on forever, but finally, we saw the faint glow of moonlight up ahead. We burst out of the tunnel and didn't stop running until we were halfway across the field. When we finally turned around, the entrance was empty. Whatever had been chasing us hadn't come out. We stood there gasping for air, too scared to speak. Eventually, Jake broke the silence. "What the hell was that?" None of us had an answer. We never went back to the tunnel. Jake tried to act like it was no big deal, but I could tell he was freaked out. Mark wouldn't even talk about it. As for me, I still think about it sometimes. The footsteps, the growling, the symbols in that notebook. Whatever was in that tunnel, it wasn't human, and it sure as hell wasn't just water dripping. I don't know what we saw down there, but I'll never forget the way it felt. Like we weren't supposed to leave, like it wanted us to stay. This game isn't an unknown game, as it has been played by many, and for a long time now, as long as I can remember. I'm not sure how old the game is. The first time I heard about this game existence was in a movie, and I couldn't believe what my eyes were looking at when they kept daring people to do the undo. At that time, I thought it was just a movie, but I never knew my fellow childhood friends had already taken the game into their hands to have a real life experience of it. Silly, or should I say innocent, me screamed so happily that I wanted to be part of their game without knowing what game exactly. Why did I have to ask when we were always playing box games or hide and seek and other fun games? So they decided to let me go first, and then I knew it wasn't going to end well. But my playful self still didn't think about leaving for my father's house. I agreed to go first, and they chose another tiny little girl like me to dare me. I wasn't given the option to choose truth. The game was strictly a dare, or dare game from what I remember. The cheat started from the beginning. And here comes my first truth or dare game. Dare or dare game. The tiny girl ordered me to stay inside the fridge for 30 minutes. No, the fridge wasn't working, lol. I wanted to run away. I remember my mind telling me to, but somehow I found myself inside the fridge, and my other friends outside kept playing around, and some sat on the fridge, so I won't come out before the time dared. I still wonder how they were able to check time back then. If I am being close to accurate, I was inside the fridge for only 5 minutes before I began to cry out for help, but none of them felt an iota of pity to rescue me. I just continued to shout with all the power I had got then. My voice got cracked from the crying and shouting, but I didn't care. I just continued. Those kids were bent on making me stay in the fridge for the exact 30 minutes, and I thought in my heart, so I'm going to die as a child and won't become an adult someday. I increased the volume of my crying voice. A few minutes later, an adult came close to my friends and heard my faint shout from the fridge. I was freed, but we all got punishment from the adult. I still wonder why I was included in that punishment role. I escaped death, so she should have gone easy on me, but nope. Ever since then, I've been traumatized to any form of truth or dare that is done physically. That is, I run away from being present in a truth or dare game, except online ones where I could get away with some dares. Looking back now, I realize how fucking close I came to dying that day. The scariest part, I found out years later that a kid in our town actually died in a similar incident back in the 90s. Some kids were playing and locked him in an old freezer. They forgot about him and went home for dinner. His parents searched for hours before they found him. The worst thing is, those kids who locked me in weren't even trying to be evil. They were just stupid kids who didn't understand how dangerous it was. Like a fucking fridge? That shit's basically a death trap. You can't open most old fridges from the inside, and they're practically airtight. I remember the darkness in there. It was pitch black, and the space was so tight I could barely move. The rubber seal around the door made this weird squeaking noise every time I tried to push it. The air got thicker and thicker, and my breath started coming in short gasps. Sometimes I still have nightmares about it. In my dreams, no one comes to save me. I'm just trapped there, feeling the air run out, hearing my friends' muffled laughter, outside getting fainter and fainter. What really fucks me up is thinking about how many other kids might have gone through similar shit. Like, truth or dare seems so innocent, right? But kids can be so fucking cruel without even meaning to be. They don't think about consequences. After that day, my relationship with those friends was never the same. How could it be? They were willing to let me suffer just for their entertainment. Even though we were young, that shit changes how you see people. I started having panic attacks in small spaces after that. Elevators, closets, even crowded buses, they all trigger that same feeling of being trapped. My parents had to get me therapy when I was 15 because I had a complete breakdown during a school field trip when we visited a submarine museum. The fucked up thing is, years later, I ran into one of those kids at a grocery store. She remembered the incident and actually tried to apologize, said she still feels guilty about it. But how do you forgive someone for almost killing you, even if they didn't mean to? Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if that adult hadn't shown up. Would they have eventually let me out? Or would I have become another tragic news story? Local child dies in truth or dare gone wrong. Now I'm a parent myself and I'm probably overprotective as fuck. But can you blame me? I know firsthand how a simple game can turn deadly in minutes. My kids aren't allowed to play truth or dare unless I'm there to supervise. They think I'm being dramatic, but they don't know what it's like to feel your life slipping away in a dark, cold space. That game taught me something important. There's a fine line between fun and fatal. And kids? They don't see that line until it's too late. So yeah, maybe I am traumatized, but at least I'm alive to tell the story. Some kids weren't so lucky. The story I'm about to tell you happened to me when I was like 13. We used to play truth or dare too, but this one time it went way too far. Looking back now, I still get chills thinking about it. It was summer break, and our neighborhood had this abandoned construction site where they'd stopped building this apartment complex. The developer went bankrupt or something, so it was just sitting there, half finished. Me and 5 other kids from my block would hang out there, even though our parents told us not to. One evening, we were bored as fuck and decided to play truth or dare. There was me, Tommy, Sarah, Marcus, Jenny, and this new kid Kevin who just moved in. Kevin was trying real hard to fit in. You could tell. He was always trying to one-up everyone. The sun was setting, and we were all sitting in this concrete room on the 2nd floor. The whole place smelled like piss and spray paint. We'd been playing for about an hour, doing stupid shit like licking walls and making animal noises. Then it was Kevin's turn to dare someone. He picked me. The fucking psycho dared me to climb into this old elevator shaft and grab some graffiti cans someone had dropped at the bottom. The shaft was pitch black, probably 20 feet deep. I tried to pussy out, but everyone started calling me chicken. Kevin had this weird look in his eyes, like he was getting off on making me scared. I didn't want to look like a bitch in front of everyone, especially Sarah. I had the biggest crush on her. So I agreed. Marcus found some rope from the construction materials and they tied it around my waist. The plan was to lower me down, slowly. I remember my hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the flashlight. As they started lowering me into that black hole, the temperature dropped like 20 degrees. The walls were wet and slimy. About halfway down, my flashlight caught something moving. I thought it was rats at first. Then I heard this weird scratching sound. Not like rat claws, but like something bigger. The beam from my flashlight showed these weird marks on the walls, like something had been trying to climb out. I started freaking out, telling them to pull me up. But then the rope suddenly went slack. I heard screaming from above, but it wasn't my friends. It was like a different kind of scream. I dropped about 5 feet before the rope caught again. My flashlight hit the bottom of the shaft, and I saw something that still fucks with me. There was this dude down there, crouched in the corner, wearing what looked like old construction clothes. He was facing the wall, but when my light hit him, he started turning his head. I screamed so fucking loud my throat hurt. My friends pulled me up so fast, the rope burned through my shirt. When I got to the top, they were all white as sheets. And turns out they'd seen someone watching us from one of the dark windows, which is why they'd dropped the rope. We ran out of there so fast, didn't even look back. Later we found out that 2 construction workers had died there when the project first started. One fell down the elevator shaft. The police searched the place after we reported it, but they didn't find shit. The building got demolished a month later. Kevin moved away shortly after, but before he left, he told me something that still gives me nightmares. He said he'd been down that elevator shaft the day before he dared me. Said he saw the same thing, but he wanted someone else to see it too, to prove he wasn't crazy. Sometimes I drive past that lot now. It's just an empty field with weeds growing through the concrete foundation, but every time I pass by, I swear I can hear that scratching sound. The worst part, a few years later, I was looking through all the newspaper articles about the construction accidents. They never found the second worker's body. The article said they just assumed he'd quit and left town. That concludes today's video. See you next time and take care.